caught up in the criminal justice system, you are in for the hassle of your life. And to make it more of a hassle, I think is totally inappropriate.
Very well spoken, very well spoken. Is there any other highlights you'd like to point out, you know, from your experiences in the last few years in Arizona, seeing things as, well, apparently corrupt as they are? Any other highlights that you'd like to point out for us? Things that come to mind.
Well, when we intook inmates, there were certain procedures you had to go through. And one of them was to assess them medically and if they needed medication.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of times they weren't on their medication when they showed up with us. And they had not been attended to. I mean, people that might be schizophrenic.
Right.
I mean, meds like Haldol and Thorazine that they weren't able to, they didn't have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Bipolar people, you know, meds like Lamictal and Seroquel and those things.
Right.
Our doctors had to assess them, and we had to start the medication. Now, can you imagine the expense alone at the state for medication?
Sure.
Well, if you don't provide that medication, you save a lot of money.
Right.
So we were getting people on intake that their medication was stopped. They may have been taking it on the outside, but when they got into the system, they weren't assessed appropriately. And
that just leads to more problems.
Oh,
the
you
inmates.
betcha.
Yeah.
Well, you can imagine somebody schizophrenic that doesn't have the meds. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. Hate to make light of the matter, but there's so many topics going on.
Well, I read a lot about Arpaio. This is what I got off of Wikipedia. He was born in 1932.
Mm-hmm.
He went in the Army from Massachusetts. He was born to Italian parents. A lot of people don't know it. Joe Arpaio is Italian.
Yeah.
He joined the Army and went to France as a military policeman. After that, came back on the East Coast. He was a police officer, and then he moved to Las Vegas, where he was a police officer for only 7 months. After that, he got hired by what was known then as the Federal Drug Enforcement.
Yeah.
Now it was the forerunner of the DEA.
Sure.
And through assignments, promotions, supervisory positions, he landed in Phoenix, where in '92 he ran for sheriff. Was elected, obviously.
Right.
96 elected, 2000 elected, 2004, and 2008. And there's a reason for this. And well, my impression of Arpaio is that he tries, at least in his public persona, to exude control, confidence, authority,
Right.
efficiency, and the purveyor of fear.
Right.
I believe personally that what elects Joe Arpaio is that he can translate the crime in the city to fear of more crime in the city. What I'm saying is, I think it's overblown. There are pockets of crime in high crime areas in Phoenix, just like there is in Tucson.
Right.
But to tell everybody these guys are going to be in your backyard and you better vote for me, it's obviously worked.
Right.
It's worked 4 times.
Right.
So
apparently somewhere along the line, poor Mr. Arpaio.
worked 5 times. Sorry.
No problems. Apparently somewhere along the line he's gotten a chip on his shoulder, or he's been a hard ass his whole life or something. There's some kind of character trait wrong with this guy to be a public servant and to go out and treat people like this. You know, granted, I'm all for stopping real criminals and stuff too, but we've interviewed a lot of people today that you're just driving around minding your own business, and for no reason at all, you're getting hassled. And once they pull you over, they just stack it on and stack it on and stack it on. And once you're in the system, as you know, there's no way to get out of it, really. I mean, what do we do with something like this?
Well, I can give you my impression of him. To the public, he is in control. Now this is from talking to his deputies
Yes.
and his correction officers, because we dealt with them transferring inmates in and out,
Okay.
that sort of thing. He's a tyrant with these.
With the staff also.
With his staff, yeah. And I think, again, my opinion, that in private, he is full of rage.
Absolutely. You can see it. Yeah. There's some psychological
He's-
issues going on.
Yeah, he's
Not to
angry.
pick on the guy, I mean, but there's something going on in that guy's head. It's not quite right. And it transfer over into the whole state. Now the world is looking at us.
Well, we don't. You're talking about the Prop 1070.
Well, that's the latest thing, but this has been going on since like '92, since he was first elected.
Mm-hmm.
The abuse that's been going on in this state, as far as the everyday people getting tickets and whatever, and getting thrown in the system, thrown in Tent City for misdemeanors and stuff.
Well, you have to understand something, and I will give credit to the officers because it's having been on the street, it is very difficult on the street. I'll give you an example.
Oh, yeah.
You pull someone over, they're driving erratically or whatever, or they run a stop sign, and you go up to the car, which is dangerous in itself,
Sure.
especially in some sections of the town here. And the guy's got no driver's license. The registration's expired.
Right.
He's obviously got no insurance, and he's got no name. You ask him what his name is, and
Well,
he tells you he doesn't have one.
That stuff I totally understand, and that's where every law
And you
enforcement.
got to take him in.
Right.
Because you can't write tickets to somebody that can't identify him. They can't drive the car.
I'm talking like 16-year-old girl we talked to earlier today. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, she got a ticket or pulled over because she didn't have her headlights on yet. And it just went on from that. The poor thing got ticket after ticket after ticket. I mean, that's just the petty stuff that seems to be rolling in the state right now. Any possible reason they could pull you over and then take it from there.
It's revenue. When I was on the Dallas Police Department, we had some revenue problems. So our chief, who was later arrested and convicted, but that's a whole other story. He made it public, put it in writing that he wanted us to write more tickets to get more money for the city.
Right.
Well, that backfired on him. The city council took that one up. But that's what's going on.
It's
I mean,
revenue.
I think having been in Europe, dealing with these flashing lights that when you're short at a stop sign or
Oh,
you
really?
run a yellow or something like that. That was what, in 77, 78, that they had those in Europe, that they're not new. However, they were run by the police department. So my question is, with all of you can see them sitting alongside the road driving up here on I-10 from Tucson. The strobe light that gets you, takes your picture and your license. They are contracted to a private company. So if you are by your constitutional rights allowed to face your accuser,
Right.
what do you face? The Acme Light Company?
Oh, but they've got it figured out to the minutia. You can't
Well,
avoid it.
It'll go to Supreme Court, I'm sure.
Okay.
Let's see what else I can crank out here that just. I'm not on a mission here, but there are just things happening that make us look bad. I mean, when Clarence Dubnik, or sheriff down there, is on the national news saying he will not enforce 1070.
I saw that.
I mean, that's the second largest county in the state. So we're not going to enforce it because it's unenforceable.
Right.
So what are you going to do? You're asking officers to go out there and enforce something that may abridge somebody's constitutional rights.
It just opens up a legal can of worms that is just going to cost the city and the state more and more and more and more. It's going to backfire, really. Yeah.
Well, if you go on Wikipedia and look up Arpaio,
Yes.
you will see a laundry list of cases pending against him, lawsuits pending against him.